Oh, well, hi there, and welcome to today's Death Battle cast.
Ooh, it's a sultry one today.
So
Today, we
ominous.
have a Star Wars matchup and a Fire Emblem matchup. Very unique for our time here at Death Battle cast. I'm just going to be talking like this the whole time,
It's like the
this close to the
ASMR
microphone.
version.
ASMR battle? No, that's terrible. Hey,
ASMR
Ben,
baby.
voice of Wiz, Death Battle, joined by Chad, voice of Boomstick.
Hi, that's
as
me.
per usual.
I'm here.
That's him. And very happy to have Embu on.
What's up?
And Aaron as well is back.
Hello.
All right. And since you two, I mean, you both of you have been on cast before, but just in case people haven't seen the episodes you guys have been on, real quick, just fill them in on what you guys do. And let's start with Embu.
I don't want to. They should have seen my episodes already.
All right, that's fine. Yeah, that's fair. That's actually totally fair. Aaron, what do you do?
Oh,
Anyone
damn.
who's in the know should know what Embu is about for sure. Yeah, Embu is our. I'll go ahead and introduce you. Embu is our social media extraordinaire here at Death Battle. He is involved in basically all things community, and especially with our Discord. My cat has joined us.
He's your champion,
What an
champions.
immaculate.
Yeah.
I love that.
I
Thank
know.
you.
Perfect.
I was
Perfect
joking to the guys just before we start. I'm like, it's only a matter of time before Ozzy comes in. He's like built an innate sense, I think, now for when I have my camera on, and he's like, I gotta get in there.
Yeah, he got a taste of the
I gotta
limelight.
make it about me.
Show business.
Right.
Awesome.
But yes, I am Aaron. I am the line producer for Death Battle. This is my production assistant. But yeah, for some reason I'm in charge of this thing. Is ultimately what that comes down to. Producer
Because
for
you
Well-
worked your ass off. and
And also, cat wrangling translates perfectly to line producer.
yeah.
Actually
Yeah,
does.
that's fair.
There is a,
That's
there
a
actually
fair
is a little
point.
bit of overlap there.
Yeah, when we were doing
Uh,
some like restructuring and shifting and promoting and stuff, the meeting when it was announced, because we didn't know who was gonna take over Death Battle right away, and then the meeting that it was revealed that it was Aaron, like everyone just got very happy. So, so you
Yeah.
deserve it.
yeah.
Yeah, and Embu's been busting ass for all of y'all. Like I said, if you're our champions, he's your champion, helping put everything together, along with a lot of help from an amazing mod team. So shout outs to our mods in the chat as well, which I see Bruno, and I'm sure Nubian will pop in sometime.
Yes. Our mods in the chat as well as in the Discord. I want to give them a shout out for everything they've been doing for Death Battle Cast and Death Battle recently, because
Especially right now.
we
Oh, yeah.
are coming very close to the reveal of the champions poll. We have been working very hard on going through the ballots. There's a lot. You guys had a lot of great ideas, and figuring out which ones can be on the poll. The polls, because if you didn't know, if you haven't heard, there are going to be 2 polls that you guys are going to be able to vote on. We'll have more information about that later on in the show. I think we want to jump into this death battle sooner than later, because I feel like we're going to have some hot takes, some spicy takes on some
Yeah.
of these characters.
The only thing I want to toss out before we jump into that is that if you're like, what the hell is the champions poll? Or maybe even like, what the hell is a champion? That's what we call our YouTube members. And we had a crazy idea, and we decided to let our champions pick a death battle, which then led to picking 2 death battles. So if you want to get your voice in there, you won't technically be able to pitch a matchup at this point, but if you want to be like, that one, I want to vote, you could try signing up to support us on YouTube as a champion. Thank you. You don't have to. We're just happy you're
Yes.
here.
Tell them again, Chad.
I will say,
Do it.
The champions ballot on the Death Battle Discord has been phenomenal to watch. We're probably going to continue doing something like that for Death Battle Cast moving forward, or something along those lines. Like, we want to keep doing stuff like this because you guys have a bunch of amazing ideas, and we want to hear from you guys.
Oh,
So-
and
Excitement
Spencer
in the
BBD
Discord server.
brings up a very good point, saying
Crazy.
you have to be in the Discord to vote. So yeah, the other part about that, because we get a lot of questions about this. So we do have by becoming a champion, you get access to our premium Discord, which is amazing. And a lot of people are like, how do I find it? So you need to link your YouTube account to your Discord, and then in Discord it should show you like the channels that you now have access to, and you'll be able to join and find it. All right.
There's a really handy step-by-step guide on the community tab. Yeah,
There you go.
Remember when I was like, "Hey, we'll talk about this later in the show. We're gonna like do a death battle right now."
No, I don't.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. I
You
was
remember it?
Sorry, do we do that here?
Okay, let's no, it's gonna be cool. Yeah, keep an eye on that. But we will have more information later on in the show. All right, so let's get to this community death battle. The way this is gonna work, as usual, is two of us will be arguing. For once, it is not me. It is not Chad. Embu will be repping Kylo Ren from the Star Wars sequel trilogy, and Eren will be repping Edelgard from Fire Emblem Three Houses. Did I say her name right?
You did, yes.
Yes.
way to
It
go.
looks like Edelgard or Edelgard, but apparently it's Edelgard.
Correct.
Okay. Got it.
And also, Ben, I
Cool.
just want to point out you were giving me shit, but Cerro Forges and Camu VO both became champions because we were talking about that. So,
Oh my god.
What now?
Okay, well, you know what? Props. Good call. Is that how we get new champions? We just talk about it? Should we just do
we do. I mean,
Death Battle cast where we just
explaining
talk
it
about
probably
champions?
does help, especially
I
like, at
guess
the top
so.
of the show. Anyway, it's all good.
Typically we're like, hey, become a member, but if we just say champions, people are like, what the hell are you talking about? All right. So the way this is gonna work, as usual, is these two will have time to argue for their characters, and then the jury will decide at the end of the show who wins a death battle. Jury consists of 3 seats: myself, Chad, and you all watching this live. We will have a poll at the end of the show that you'll be able to vote on and determine who wins between Kylo Ren and Edelgard. I believe this was actually on the champions ballot in the Discord, up for nomination for the poll that's going to be coming out soon. So I'm very curious. I've seen this requested quite a few times, actually. I'm very curious to see, one, how this matchup pairs out, and two, how Ozzy the cat is going to affect
Steal your hearts.
yeah, the poll.
Steal your
He's my secret weapon. Is he...
I kicked out my animals from my room and I didn't know this was happening.
I mean, Chaos Nightmare in the chat says, "Does the cat get a vote?" I think he does.
we
No,
can
He's here.
no.
we gave
No,
we
set
gave
me
him a
up for
vote last time,
failure.
I thought.
He's
Oh, that's true.
participating.
That's true. We did have. I mean, maybe you should go get your animals. The more animals you have, the more votes you have.
Yeah.
Takes off.
I'll give you a
If,
dog.
if
You want Mike
I
the dog?
try to lock them out of the office, it's even more disruptive because they lose their minds because oh no, mom's trapped in a room. We have to save her. So
Naturally.
he will now naturally because he does just love attention. So attention for me isn't enough. He is going to have to get attention for everybody here. He I'm sure will make more appearances since he's
That's
awake.
right. Sponge God Omnipants does point out that Nick's Bird's got a vote, so cats should get a vote. That's true. That is now Death Battle Cast policy. His pets get votes, I guess. Bringing the cat that scratched you last year. That was actually Gerardo's cat. I have a scar right there. It's a little hard to see, but yes.
A battle wound.
Yes, from Gerardo's terrifying cat. Yeah, I don't do well with cats, clearly. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. So, Kylo Ren. Oh boy. Adam Driver at his finest. Let's
You watch your mouth.
let's get into it. Hey, you know what? Kylo Ren is one of the best parts of the sequel trilogy. Let's be honest.
All right.
Until maybe the very, very, very end.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. All right.
that fight
no.
was really cool.
We're not here. We're not
Not sounding
here.
very impartial, if you ask me.
We're not here to talk shit about Rise of Skywalker, although I'm gonna take every opportunity I can. We're here to talk about why Kylo Ren would potentially win. Embu, you have 60 seconds on the clock. Why is Kylo Ren gonna win this?
Let's get it. Okay, so everybody knows Kylo Ren, the youngest Skywalker member, and we've all been watching Andor, so we're kind of used to the fun other parts of Star Wars, but we know this bloodline, this family is like the strongest when it comes to Force sensitivity. They all come from Anakin, who has all the midichlorians, but shh, we don't talk about
Oh,
that.
you said the bad word.
What's most important is we're talking about a guy who, at like the young age of, I don't know, 28, was like the supreme leader of an entire resurgent empire that conquered more of the observable galaxy than the empire under Palpatine and Darth Vader did in a shorter time. Like the Resistance War was like a year long, I think. We're talking about a guy who could freeze blaster bolts in midair, do force stasis. He could probe minds. He's on par with other duelists of his era, which is really just Luke and Rey. But you know what? They're pretty good duelists. He's keeping up with them. I don't know what Edelgard is going to bring to the table that's going to go against the Force, a power that typically just gets stronger with conviction. It's over.
And trained by both sides. Like,
I didn't even get that part. I didn't even get that part.
The First Order conquered more of the galaxy than Palpatine did.
Well, I guess because he was Palpatine, but yeah, by the beginning of Episode 9, they had already like been ruling everything. Remember how like they wiped out the Republic in the first movie?
Oh right,
yeah,
okay.
By
They
the
just never
last
established
one-
in the movies like how that all worked. Okay,
well,
It's okay.
but
it's
remember,
okay.
in the end, due to a last-minute rewrite, that it felt like it was Palpatine all along. So,
that's well,
see,
kind
the
of.
Final Empire or whatever it was called, Final Order, whatever it was. Anyway, okay, so that aside, good argument, good start. Let's talk about Edelgard, who I don't know anything about, so I'm very
Same.
curious what she brings to the table. Aaron,
tell us, Aaron.
60 seconds. And we can't hear you.
We lost Aaron's mic.
No!
Uh-oh.
Everything was going well.
Uh-oh.
Are we good now?
Yes.
We are good
Yes.
now.
Okay.
Roll back the 60
What I-
seconds.
Tell
Look-
everybody
What I
how
s-
I'm gonna win again.
What you said while you apparently couldn't hear me was, hey, I had like a weird little internet blip. Can you hear me okay? So that answered that question. But okay. Ozzy has decided to join me again.
Restart the timer again. All right.
Nah, let her
Alright.
take her
Take a moment.
time. Come
Okay.
on.
Aaron, take a moment.
Okay,
Collect
okay.
yourself.
Internet blip fixed. Ozzy's here to help. All right, 60 seconds on the
Ozzy's
clock.
here.
Let's
Okay.
get this going. Edelgard.
And go. So Edelgard is one of the primary characters involved in Three Houses and Three Hopes. She is one of the 11 children for the Emperor, and basically through a bunch of circumstances in her youth ends up being experimented on by the shadowy organization that ends up granting her these additional powers that no one else in this world has. And from that she ends up going on this big quest for revenge and to take over the empire and then to take over the country at large. She is an incredibly powerful tank and an incredibly powerful like tactical mind. She ends up running the empire successful route. She ends up actually running the entire land successfully on her own. So I think as far as comparing her to Kylo, she is by far I think a more powerful fighter as well as a better tactical mind.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Squeeze it in there right at the end. All right.
See,
Okay.
Emma was just like, this is why Kylo is great. Aaron's like, this is why my character is great, and his sucks.
Hey, thanks Charles Nguyen for becoming a champion. We got champions coming in out the wazoo to get ready for this. Yeah. It's gonna be great. Member. We should say members because so people know what we're talking about. Okay,
Yes, our YouTube
so
members.
we got some powerful rulers here.
I
Let's
just want to
just-
throw in that one of them's swinging around a bone weapon and the other one has a laser sword. So I'm just gonna say it seems a little uneven. Seems like one of them's clearly gonna beat the other one.
That is
Oh, hold
exactly
on.
what I
Very
wanted
good
to bring
point.
up. Let's
Hold
cover
on.
this. How
Hold
does she
on.
compete with a lightsaber?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, please tell me
it's
how you
not-
stop from a lightsaber.
It's not just her axe. She can also use many other weapons. One of the other main weapons that I mainly wanted to bring to the table is the Sword of Saros. So in Fire Emblem Three Houses, you have what are known as the heroic relics. They are these incredibly powerful weapons that are kind of handed down to different heroes, as the name would suggest. And they are made out of bone, very specifically bone from the goddess, who is an incredibly powerful, essentially dragon being. They're essentially really powerful ancestral dragons. So it is an incredibly durable material. I do not actually think, and granted, I don't have much of a point of comparison because it's a lightsaber from Star Wars, but I do not think a lightsaber would be able to cut through these weapons at all.
Well, I got questions right out the gate. So does it like are they stated to be indestructible, or like have you seen it block like, let's say, like really intense like dragon fire, for example? Like
It's really interesting you bring that up because I played Fire Emblem, and aren't those weapons literally like durable with a little number, and they break if you use too many of them?
The way
I
that
remember lightsabers
durability,
breaking.
yeah, the way that durability works in Fire Emblem is less so the weapon fully breaking and more so it is the amount of time you're able to use that weapon during combat before you essentially have to get it reset between bouts. So it is a durability statistic. It is more of a video game mechanic, but it is not that, you know, your weapon snaps in half and you can never use it again. It's not
The
like
weapon's
that
not
kind of
destroyed, it's just
durability.
like dulled or
Essentially, yeah.
damaged over time. And the
Yeah.
hero relics take. Okay, so I'm a little familiar with the hero relics, and I know that compared to the other weapons, they take a very, very long time to dull or be damaged.
Mhm.
Unless you have an ability that like increases the amount of damage it takes or whatnot. And because of that, as far as I'm aware, typically you don't have to worry about them ever breaking during a game since it resets every time.
Mhm.
Is there like ever a time when you might be worried that her axe or her weapon is gonna? What is the weapon? Is it an axe?
So I guess this is a general thing for Fire Emblem. The whole idea is that it's very customizable, very, you know, seeing what class changes you can do, what weapon and armor outputs you can have to, you know, best have your army, you know, be like really efficient in battle. So there's a lot of different options that every character can have as far as their weapon loadout and their class, and you know the magic they can use and everything. As far as like canon Edelgard goes, she favors great axes. She has a very specific one called Eimer, Aymr. I think I'm saying that correctly. But there are also like other weapons kind of like within her route and other routes that will become kind of primary weapons of hers, one of them being the Sword of Saros.
got you. I started a poll in the chat, just so you know, saying can a lightsaber cut through dragon godbone? So the chat's gonna help us with that one.
Let me
Yes.
let me help the chat out and everybody else here. By any chance, Aaron, have you heard of a Zillow beast before?
I have.
Are you-
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting. Chad, Ben, are you familiar with the Zillow beast in Star Wars?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I
So,
know
I
what
mean,
you're bringing
similar,
up.
The real estate
similar
titan?
to a dragon. Similar to a dragon. There's a Zillow beast in
Real
Star Wars.
estate. Wait, was it called Zillow? I thought it was called Xylo.
No,
Maybe it is
it's-
Zillow.
it's
I don't
not
know.
Zillow.
It's not
Whatever.
a xylophone pen. It's not a
yeah.
xylophone.
No, it
Well,
is.
it
It
looks-
is
it's-
Zillow.
Similar to
He's
dragon
your real
bones.
estate agent. Yeah.
He's also Godzilla.
Mhm.
Mm.
He moonlights as Godzilla.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a Godzilla. It's a Godzilla homage in Clone Wars, is what he's talking about.
Mhm.
Not only Clone Wars, my friend, but in the most recent Kylo Ren comics, I think it was like 2019, 18,
Right.
there was a planet that Darth Vader himself failed to conquer. He was there with the original iteration of the Empire. They met up with a Zillo beast that these people were worshiping, and for one reason or another, we don't know if Darth Vader lost against it, he chose not to fight it, but whatever, it didn't die. Okay, so fast forward 30 years later, you know, a little chip off the old block, Kylo Ren comes, and instead of doing what Anakin did in the Clone Wars, where he just started whacking his lightsaber against it, because the armor of the Zillo Dragon Beast isn't going to be broken by that, the tactician, the brilliant mind, the genius of our age got eaten by it. And then he cut himself out from the inside, proving that at least from the inside out, the lightsaber can destroy something similar to, I think, the progenitor god's hero relics or her bones that made the hero relics.
Oh well,
Wait.
I have to jump on that because I feel like you just gave Aaron a win on that one because you're like, sorry, there is a mythical beast or whatever, a beast in the Star Wars universe.
It's not
that
even
we've-
mythical. It's just
that-
an animal.
Yeah, and so
It's just an animal.
we've actually seen that like powerful animals can be like have like a skin or an armor so powerful
I think
that
it's mythical.
that its lightsaber can't cut through it. He had to go to the inside. He had to get around it.
Yeah, but her weapon is not entirely made out of hero relic bones. It's like a hero relic bone head, and it's like a regular iron or unspecified metal handle. So you're saying that only if she hits the head, that maybe that's the only part lightsaber can't break? Last time I checked, he's used to like hitting handles. Fight. He has cross guards. What do I gotta say about the cross guards?
I was wondering when that was gonna get brought up.
I have a question. I have a question because I haven't read this comic. How does the Zillo Beast has metal plating, right? And the metallic type plating scales or whatever are what is immune to lightsaber blows. How is the metal plating vulnerable from the inside, like from underneath, but not from above? How does that?
That's a really great question.
How does that work?
Which goes into my next point about Kylo Ren. His lightsaber is an ancient design. It's designed from a previous Sith Empire era. So there's something, we don't know the exact specifications. All we know is that the kyber crystal, which is a living sentient like sediment, a living sentient material that amplifies and acts as a conduit for your force abilities, adds to and increases its strength of his lightsaber in particular because of his connection to it, as well as it's cracked. So it's like a lot of weird things going on with their lightsaber. Let's just say it's a really good lightsaber, okay?
Oh,
really good.
I always assumed that his lightsaber was not very good, and that's why it was all like staticky.
Yeah, it's like yeah.
Well, the static is from the kyber crystal being cracked. It's
the
not as
kyber crystal's cracked. Okay.
Yeah.
In order to turn it into a red one, you have to bleed it, and in that process, he cracked it.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't. Oh, because he's touched by the light, he's not ready for it yet. I understand. That's not the symbolism I thought.
I knew you were going to come with the jabs because I'm literally 3v1ing right now, boxing all of y'all. But what actually is the thematic relevance of him being so broken inside is he pulls his power from the Discord, man. All you guys who make fun of him because the script is not that good, he's actually getting stronger from it, guys.
Just like you pull your power from the Discord. Again, you can find a member.
This is why I was made for this.
I'm on it this episode. Let's go.
Amen. Amen.
Okay.
No, but really, he gets stronger because he's frustrated, because he's conflicted, which is why this seems so crazy that we're talking about someone who uses the Force and we're trying to quantify something that, like, where does it start? It doesn't start at 1. You don't have +2 force power, and Edelgard has stats.
Okay, well, no, so that I'm curious. I just really wanted to know if we think a lightsaber could cut through the bone god dragon thing, because these are weird things that we have to consider in death battles when we smash 2 universes together. And so I'm going to end the poll, and the chat has determined that no, a lightsaber could not cut through dragon god bone.
It's okay. They're allowed to be wrong.
52% to 47%.
It is a very close poll. It's just, but according to chat, with a 52% lead, lightsabers cannot cut through the heroic weapons. But
that be wrong.
That sounds sort of like how hackers won't be able to cut through your own personal data with our first sponsor, right, chat?
Oh, bravo, Ben. Way to go.
Nice.
Yeah, that's right.
Good segue.
Because this episode is sponsored by ExpressVPN. You guys, hopefully you're all, like, at least a good percentage of you are already using ExpressVPN. If you're not, change that, because they're amazing and they've been supporting us for a very, 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 very long time. Going online without ExpressVPN is like using your smartphone without a protective case. Most of the time, you'll probably be fine, but all it takes is one accidental drop onto solid concrete to make you wish you had protected yourself. That's what ExpressVPN is for, keeping you protected. But unlike a phone, which you can replace, it's a little harder to replace your own personal information. Every time you connect to an unencrypted network, like in cafes, hotels, airports, and so on, your online data is not secured. Any hacker on the same network can gain access and steal your personal info, anything from emails and passwords to financial data. And your data is valuable. Literally, hackers can make up to $1,000 per person selling personal information. We've been using ExpressVPN for quite a while since they sponsored us. And like I've said it before a million times, I can't sing ExpressVPN's praises enough. They were like the main sponsor that came in during like the pandemic, and we were figuring out like how to keep giving you all content. And they were like integral to keeping us going. So it's super reliable, super secure, and it's really easy to use. It creates an encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet so hackers can't steal your sensitive data. It works on all devices, phones, laptops, tablets, etc., and it's easy to use. Just fire up the app, tap one button, and then boom, you're secure. Easy as that. Secure your online data today by visiting expressvpn.com/dbc. That's expressvpn.com/dbc. And you can get an extra 3 months free. expressvpn.com/dbc. Thank you, ExpressVPN.
I've got it on my phone
Incredible.
right now, actually. It's very hard to
Amazing.
see with the light. There's a light right above my monitor, but there it is. You can kind of see it. Anyway, thanks, ExpressVPN.
Protecting
and,
you
like-
in real time.
Protect your data.
Yes. All right. So
Protect yourself.
we've talked about
I'm a lightsaber.
weapons.
Mhm.
I think it's still a little up in the air whether or not the lightsaber would be able to cut through the heroic weapons, but it's definitely not as clear cut. And considering like there are quite a few materials that the lightsaber cannot cut through in the Star Wars universe, naturally forming like the Zillo Beast, and also alloys like Beskar. So, which I believe is an alloy. So the lightsaber is just, and also important to know with the lightsaber is it's not like there is a misconception with the lightsaber that it's just a pure laser that if you were to drop it, it would cut through something and like fall through a planet indefinitely. That's not how lightsabers work. They actually do have a weight to them. They do have a stopping power to it. It just depends what it's hitting. That might change that. It also can basically cut through anything, but it's not like
I'm happy to
it's
move
not
off
like
the
Ghost
lightsaber.
laser.
I'm happy to move off lightsaber
Ember
because
wants to
someone in
move
the
off
chat.
the lightsaber because he knows that it can't cut through the
No,
hero.
I insist on staying on it if you want to,
Has-
but I just saw Marvel Fantasy just said, what's stopping Kylo Ren from using Force paralysis on Edelgard?
Yeah, I was gonna say, 'cause
Shouldn't they stop that.
I have no doubt that the lightsaber could cut through Edelgard pretty good.
Yeah,
but
let's talk about Force versus magic, because Edelgard's got magic, right?
I think that's the real thing to get into is, how do we want to compare the Force versus how magic works in Fire Emblem? Yes, Edelgard is able to wield magic. Her primary types outside of like faith magic, which is kind of like the healing magic. She also, for her reason being like kind of your offensive spells, primarily uses fire magic and dark magic. There are several spells that actually do pack quite a bit of a punch as well. There is one spell. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm so sorry, but it's Bolgane. I do not know how you
Baloney?
pronounce that.
Bologna? Yeah.
It's like bologna
It sounded
with an
like bologna to
extra
me,
N
too.
in there. I don't know. So the
Bologna.
bologna fire spell,
Fancy bologna.
Bologna.
is
Bologna.
it summons basically 4 big spiraling flames, and it's basically been shown to be a spell that's powerful enough to level towns. The power equivalent of it is about 500 tons of TNT, which isn't
That's
even
pretty
kind
cool.
of the highest amount of kind of energy output we can get with Edelgard, but we can get into that
Interesting.
later.
Okay.
She
Pretty
also
cool.
has like some dark magic spells that she can do, which does include basically creating voids that will negate enemies' magical resistance as well as affect their magic output. She also has it's
What? Sorry.
Yes,
A
go ahead.
void? What do you mean by void?
basically like a mini black hole. It is a black void of dark magic. Dark magic being something that kind of absorbs life energy. A lot of the ways that very classically dark magic will kind of
Gotcha.
operate in a lot of
So
series.
she creates like this necrotic
It's
ball of
Bolganon, by the way.
energy or something like that,
Mhm.
and it just like saps life energy.
Saps more so magical energy. The way the magic system works in
Mm.
Fire Emblem, that itself is an energy that you can either resist other people's magic, or you can kind of make it so their magic isn't as effective towards you or others. In her faith magic, which gets more into kind of like healing magic, she has basically Edelgard's magic. She has some offensive, but really it's that she is like a mega self-healing tank, both with her spells that she can use as well as her what are called crests in Fire Emblem. It's more sort of like your innate magic that you're born with. Both her crests and her healing spells that she's able to do are all ones that will help her heal and regain her stamina continually throughout a fight. If anything, she will, by way of her crests, heal more, like kind of the longer that she is in combat or the more damage that she takes on.
Okay.
Interesting. All right.
So I saw see a couple of people in chat asking about, is the Force magic?
Yeah, because that is the question. If we quantify the Force as magic for this, then she has things that basically do let her resist magic or affect other people's
Okay.
like efficiency with their magic.
I've got a question then that can maybe help with this. So, where does magic come from in Fire Emblem?
That is a very lore heavy question, Chad, but I am so
Sorry.
happy you asked it.
Oh no.
She has receipts.
I've got the
Well,
receipts. So
I guess, is it like an internal thing or an external thing?
It is both. So there is, without having us be here all day to go through Fire Emblem lore,
Right.
there is the religious sect of the country called the Church of Saros, and they, believe that their magic all comes from the goddess. She gave these gifts called crests to 10 nobles, 4 apostles, 4 other guys. So there was an original 18 people basically that she gave crests, which is innate magical abilities, an innate ability that makes you, a stronger fighter, someone more stealthy, maybe you're more accurate. It is entirely, dependent on the crest. And then that goes through bloodlines. So that is inherent magic. That is magic you're born with. You can also wield magic through some of the classes. You have your kind of standard mage, you've got warlock, you've got healer based mages. They're all different classes, and a majority of characters in Fire Emblem, you can change their classes. Again, it's all about working on your specs for your team. So a lot of the characters have that capability to also be in a class that allows them to perform magic. So there is both inherent, which is the crests, and then there is, magic that you get through your class choice. What's also interesting for Edelgard is that she actually has 2 crests, which should be impossible. Normally, if you inherit a crest, you only inherit the one.
Mm-hmm.
But when she was a child, she and her siblings were taken by this basically shadow cult organization called Those Who Slither in the Dark. It's a long name. But she and her siblings were all experimented on, their goal being to try to figure out how to imbue people with crests or imbue people with more crests. She was the only one of her siblings to survive that, but it was actually successful. So Edelgard is the only person in the world of Fire Emblem that actually has 2 crests. So she has 2 kinds of innate magic.
She's super magic. Okay.
Got you. But
Fire Emblem, magic comes from a lot of different sources,
right?
Basically.
And I know we got to move on from this, but my only last question, and this is because I'm a fantasy nerd, I'm sorry. I'll dig into magic.
Go for it.
Does she pull, like? It seems like the magic comes from like themselves or their order, which could be taught, I guess, or learned. But like, where does it, like? Does she pull it from the earth or like the air or like? I'm just curious. Do we know where that comes from for the stuff that isn't inherently born?
Like the source of the magical energy?
Yeah.
Sorry, I was distracted by the chat. Yes, Lysithea also has crest, but that's a separate conversation. Thank you. Yeah, so it is more of like a inherent pulled from within thing. The kind of the church system is like, it's from the goddess, but
gotcha, because that's
don't
very
need
interesting.
To
so it wasn't created by the dragon bone goddess or anything like that,
or it didn't like always exist in like the atmosphere or earth or whatever,
It gets a little bit complicated in lore. Rhea lies like a lot about where things. Rhea is the dragon pope, basically. She lies a lot about where the stuff comes from.
The dragon.
But like it is that crests were gifted to these original 18 people, and then they've been kind of disseminated down through bloodlines.
Yeah, that's all. It's like internal magic to me. That's what it sounds like. Like Dragon gave a little piece of its dragon powers right into humanity.
To be fair, as much as I wish it wasn't like this in Star Wars, it's kind of like that in Star Wars. Star Wars, the Force is very much tied to bloodlines. The Force itself is external, but they've introduced midichlorians. You access it through an internal power.
But that's like having the keys.
And
That's like having
I do see multiple people in the chat talking about how magic and Force have been separate things before Disney. I do believe they are the same thing now, because the Night Sisters have been changed to use the Force now. And I believe they used the Force in Clone Wars anyway, which was before Disney. So I think that's kind of shifted to make the Force more of an all-encompassing magic thing in Star Wars. I could be wrong. Maybe somebody's got more information on that. I'm totally open to seeing that, but that's what I believe is going on now. Especially since I see people referencing the Ewok movies.
Dude, hell yeah. Dude, I haven't watched those in forever.
Deep cut. A really deep cut.
I mean, you know, that's fair. That's official Star Wars material. But like, I don't even know if the Ewok movies were considered part of... Is that even considered part of Legends? Because I know there were multiple versions of Legends where they kept resetting things. Legends really only started in like the 90s, right? They kind of reset everything in the 90s. So I don't know. I think it's kind of up in the air whether or not Force can be considered magic, or be defined as magic in this way.
Just the difference is here though is like I get what you're saying about the bloodlines and the midichlorian shit and like whatever, but that's like I feel like that's just like you're inheriting the keys to the car. You know what I mean? Like, and the car in this case is the Force, and it's fucking like the best thing in the world, right? And it's just like, oh, thank God, because my dad was him. You know, he can give me the keys, right? So like, as to how much of the car I can access, right? Whereas like it sounds like in Fire Emblem, it's just always built within you, and I think the Force is a much vaster thing. I'm giving one to Embu on this one for sure.
I appreciate it. I really do. Because like, I mean, I know they're in a school, but like the element of like training, it doesn't seem super proficient in like certain types of magic in Fire Emblem. Obviously, you have to level up people's stat and reason skills, but like with the Force, you need like even people who aren't trained, like even Kylo Ren, Ben Solo, for instance, as a baby before he was fully even like features in his mom's tummy, Leia's tummy. She was like, I know this person. Like I feel his light. I feel his dark. So like and he was throwing stuff around. He was still a toddler, couldn't even speak.
God, for a second, I thought you were going to say he was throwing stuff around when he was still in the womb. And I was like, what? I don't remember that.
No, not quite. But
I mean, definitely Force, sensitivity and things. It, can be trained, also can be, kind of a more inherent, felt out thing. Kind of like how Rey just barely learned that she even has the ability to use the Force and then kicks Kylo's ass.
Here we go.
And that was Kylo having years of training.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm glad you brought this up, because actually that's my favorite movie. I love episode 7. I've watched it 7 times. But if you also got shot with Chewie's bowcaster, if you also stabbed your daddy in the heart when you thought it was going to bring you closure and it brought nothing but chaos in your mind, you'd probably get your butt whooped too by your Force lover and whatever they are. Like, they're like soulmates in the Force. And it's even said later on in the novelizations, and it kind of hinted in the movies, that she was stealing some of their energy between the two of them as they interact. The closer they are, the more she grows stronger. She wasn't going to be as strong if she never met him. But before we even get into that, I noticed way earlier, Lily Mandragon said, how is an island level friendship magic, according to Edelgard, going to stop someone like Kylo Ren who can force choke you from across the galaxy? I'm actually willing to concede there's a lot more abilities Edelgard has in like a fight. But if I was Kylo Ren, I wouldn't be coming to you. I'd sit in my ship and just...
When did Kylo Ren force choke somebody from across the galaxy?
When did that happen?
There's a cartoon.
Receipts,
I forgot
please.
the receipts. There's a cartoon. I forgot the name of it, but it's one of the only ones that features a lot of the sequel characters. And he literally uses the Force through a hologram phone call or whatever they're making, the same way Darth Vader does it. Darth Vader's chokeslammed people. Yeah. Oh, what am I saying? Even in episode 9, remember he dragged Hux around in a different ship. They weren't even in the same room, and people were dragging them around in the Force. You can use the Force on people even if you're not in the same room as them.
Okay, yeah, but that's like, apparently we got like phone call distance to entire galaxy. That scale seems like...
Yeah, it's Star Wars, Chad. What are you talking about? People are choke slamming, choke throwing.
He like
paralyzing.
strategically plants a holophone, and then luckily Edelgard comes across it and is like, "What's this?" And he's like, "Gotcha,
Hello?
bitch!" Ah!
I'm just wondering, from someone who can use the Force, something that is binding across entire solar systems, like what is a magic, a magician emperor gonna do?
I mean, I know, and we've seen like Luke transport his essence or whatever across like very great distances. I know. It's not. This is gonna bring it to a whole nother thing too, because like he's not gonna be able to do that because like he's not gonna know Edelgard exists. So he's not gonna know to look for it. It's not like he can sit in his ship and then like the fight begins and then you know what I mean? Like they've got to.
I think we might be getting away from a core element, which is I think the idea here is how much power there is in the Force. But I do want to, while we kind of like take in all of that, I am curious what you all think in the chat. Like, first of all, Edelgard's magic versus Kylo Ren's Force. Which one is more powerful? Which one is more useful? Because I think there are multiple different ways this can be applied. Technique versus power, training versus less training. Technically, Kylo Ren's training never finished in either side. Edelgard is fucking ruler. And teacher, right? Teacher?
No,
Yeah.
you're thinking.
Or
of
actually
Byleth.
graduated, whatever. Either way.
She got that degree, but no, you're thinking of Byleth.
Okay,
Byleth is the one
that's
that becomes a professor.
Okay, I can ask
she's
a
got a
question.
degree in some sort of college, perhaps, maybe, I don't know. But go ahead and think about that. I do want to take one moment to talk about another sponsor we have, Uncommon Goods, and we'll get right back to you, Embu. This episode sponsored by Uncommon Goods. If you haven't finished your holiday shipping yet, don't panic. Crap. I need to do that too. We've got I can't panic. We've got a secret source for incredible original gifts. It's Uncommon Goods. UncommonGoods.com has the best gifts for everyone in your life. Moms, dads, teens, in-laws, SOs, best friends, worst friends probably. And it's not stuff you can find just anywhere. It's in the name. They're Uncommon Goods. They have tons of unique and creative gifts, often handmade by independent artists and creators. From art and jewelry to kitchen, home, and bar, Uncommon Goods has something for everyone. Not the same lackluster gifts you could find just anywhere. Like I have this wine bottle glass, and this, which is on this coaster that has space for dice on it.
Dude, those are rad.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. And I got, that's my little setup of stuff from Uncommon Goods. And with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give back $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. So far, they've donated more than $2.5 million, which is crazy. So to get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/DBC. That's uncommongoods.com/DBC for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods. We're all out of ordinary.
Dude, I'm one of those
kind of
people.
cool.
When it comes to shopping, I will get like a light bulb, like the most god tier amazing gift idea for like one person a year. It's just like that for this person, and then for everyone else, I'm like, shit.
Blank. Yeah.
And yeah, so that's very helpful.
Sounds like you need Uncommon Goods,
I need
Chad.
Uncommon
You
Goods.
should go to uncommonGoods.com/DVC.
Going to.
Yeah,
All right.
Actually, my dad's like the hardest person to shop for me, and I actually found some stuff on Uncommon Goods, and I used our own coupon code. So
Hell yeah.
All right. Embu, you had something you wanted to say?
I gotta understand, how does Edelgard fare to like mental warfare? Like if someone using abilities that would like mind control or probe her mind or even like shut her mind off. Like I've never seen anything in Fire Emblem's Three Houses or Three Hopes, and I played both, where like someone could stop that from happening to them. No, because Kylo Ren can do that. He's done it a lot.
Well, first off, she survived all of the torture when she was like 7, so I'd say she has a pretty good like base to work off of. She's been through worse, essentially. The other thing that I will say is that she does have, across the different classes that you can assign to her, she can get a lot of different abilities that can basically counter a lot of sort of these, force tricks that Kylo can do. She has, I forget the name of it, but there's one class where she can get this innate ability with the class of, she basically can't be pushed around. She couldn't be pushed around by the force. She couldn't be displaced by any kind of magic. As far as like psychic thing goes, I just don't really see it affecting her. And to your point, like I cannot think of an example. I'm checking the chat, but I cannot think of an example of her very specifically like getting around that.
True. So I would then say how is her mental fortitude? Because we have absolutely seen in the Star Wars universe that like less mental fortitude, less brain power makes it much easier to be influenced by the Force.
How's her mental health? How is she doing? How's she feeling?
She's pretty solid. I mean, she is a very goals-driven woman, and in her route, she gets what she wants.
I mean, you'll say like surviving
assassination attempts and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, as dark as this is, well, you said she's a really good tactician, so we know she's like got like a brilliant mind, and then two, like as dark as it is, surviving torture requires a tremendous amount of mental fortitude,
and it leaves you with a tremendous amount of trauma.
I mean, that's true.
Makes you a little bit. There's cracks
I feel like one of the
foundation.
This matchup's been requested fairly frequently. This is one of the more common Fire Emblem matchups I see, and I feel like the whole connection is trauma, right?
Yeah,
to a certain degree.
There's quite a bit of stuff that matches up with these two as far as their backstory and sort of their, I guess, ambitions in a lot of ways.
They've had a lot of bullshit happen, and now they rule these like kingdoms, organizations, whatever, and are trying to do some crazy shit with it. So frankly, it sounds to me like Edelgard is more, if we want to have like a mental fortitude like pairing, Edelgard does seem more put together, and chat's kind of mentioned this as well, more focused essentially than Kylo Ren, who really never has any focus. Frankly,
disagree.
Like the whole situation with Kylo Ren is that he's just like driven by, he's kind of a chaotic character. He doesn't really know what he wants.
Right. Edelgard spends half of the game on most of the routes teamed up with those who slither in the dark, and she says, "Oh well, I have to work with them. It's a the ends justify the means type stuff."
Well, yeah,
How is that any more justified? And she's
that gets into like a morality ethical area, but it does prove that like to her, what is more important is what is tactically useful to her, which does include, as you said, allying with the people that tortured her as a child because they have a mutual enemy in the church. And if you complete her route, at the end of the route, after she defeats the church, kills the Dragon Pope, takes over the entire land, it is stated as canon in the epilogue in that route that she then goes and annihilates the entirety of those who slither in the dark.
And she just becomes just like Rey, if you really think about it. Because they both do a lot of lying to get everybody under their control.
I'm very curious why you're going with the ethics and moral play right now, Emby. That has nothing to do with that.
Because and I'll tell you why. Because the
they
Force,
can both be morally
unlike magic,
and she can still kill him.
The Force is one of those things where it's like, if you are in a situation where you are so confident and so assured that you're in the right, like Kylo tends to be with everybody that isn't Rey or his uncle.
He's constantly questioning himself.
You're getting triple or multiplied in amps of power. You're talking. The only thing you guys are referring to is when he fought the people who were most likely to make him doubt himself or question himself. Every time he was fighting somebody that wasn't, did they have a chance against Kylo? Not even close. Not even close. And the way he probes people's minds and is going to convince them that, hey, maybe you shouldn't do that. And then that slight hesitation, that's all someone like Kylo needs to be able to beat them in a fight. Edelgard hates Rhea, and if he just kept telling her all the different ways that they're basically the same person, which I think is the subtext of the game, if you really think about it, I don't know. I played Cloud because he's the best, or Claude because he's the best route, So I know I was gonna get that reaction out of Aaron.
I will say I've seen a lot of stuff. seen a lot of stuff in the chat that are just like, why aren't we talking about Byleth at all? Like, is there a reason we need to talk about Byleth and the scaling to Edelgard or Edelgard?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, sorry. I just saw something in the chat where someone says, "Does Kylo even know who Rhea is?" Dude Blade, I'm glad you asked. He has the same ability as the dude from Jedi Fallen Order, where if he touches something, he could see the history and the context of things associated with it.
the
So all he has to do
echoes.
is touch her one time, and he's like, "Oh, now I know what Fodlin is. Now I know what
I just learned your
the
whole
Church of
traumatic
Saros."
backstory. It's
Interesting.
a fun
Okay.
thought for if this were to become an actual episode. Having Kylo pop off a little like echo right at the beginning, I do think would be a very fun element. So yeah, he would.
Mhm.
I concede he would be able to do that, and I think it would make for a very fun part of the battle there. Um, yeah, ultimately, as far as bringing in Byleth, and I'm double checking with the chat, Byleth is stronger than Edelgard. It's a big part of why, if you don't do Edelgard's route, you do any of the other routes, she does get her ass kicked because Byleth is more powerful than her. But there's also, some like weapons or feats that Byleth has that you can reasonably scale Edelgard to. I think also just the big thing to bring up is, that Byleth and Edelgard working together in her route are able to kill Rhea, who is insanely powerful. She is basically a god herself. She is the dragon pope. She literally turns into a dragon when you fight her and defeat her. And um within Fire Emblem, like those specific like ancestral dragon race of people, they are like the most powerful people within that universe. So, the fact that she's able to defeat Rhea with Byleth's help, but is still able to kind of stand on her own in that fight, that is the like feat of three houses, at least as far as what I can think of.
I also want to note that we haven't
game.
talked too much about speed. And I just want to throw
Exactly
out that
where I was
while it
gonna ask
doesn't
next.
look like it doesn't look like it in those movies, but these are still the same people who are fighting with the same weapons as like Obi-Wan and Anakin. And in that novelization, they were literally fighting in like faster than thought, faster than I don't know if it's necessarily light speed sword fighting, but they're fighting really fast in a way that like no organic being could fight if they weren't using the Force. And I don't know if Edelgard can keep up with that kind of speed, at least combat speed.
I mean, that's something that's very specific to those older Force users, as you mentioned, who have much more experience. So I'm skeptical to know if Kylo could do combat at faster than thought, however you want to quantify that. But Edelgard is faster than light.
Because also, I will say Kylo is
She's
a bit
able
unstable.
to dodge light type spells, so she has that capability.
Kylo easily stops blaster bolts, and I don't think they move at light speed, but they're moving pretty close to, aren't they?
Dude Blade X says
Blaster bolts
Abraxas
move
is light.
slower.
Edelgard can dodge that. Yeah. So I have seen people mention in the chat that there are multiple examples of Edelgard dodging light speed attacks. We've looked into this before. Even if we include a bunch of like legacy stuff from or legend stuff from Star Wars, the light speed scaling for Jedi is questionable at best. It is possible to say so, but generally speaking, I err on the side of caution with that, just based on the examples that we have. So I would say probably not, especially if he is not fully trained or doesn't really have a lot of experience against people of that nature. Because like Aaron, you do have a point. Those are Jedi that are supposed to be at the height or a height of their power when the Jedi were in control, right, of the galaxy and whatnot. So, but like perhaps there's something to be said that they're more powerful than what Kylo Ren could potentially be.
That's
really
his
know.
granddaddy,
where do you-
Ben. He's a chip off the old block.
Again, that's such a huge scale because that's like faster than peak human, but not as fast as light. So like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure where that puts him, but it puts him, I think, a little bit below Edelgard. And I know we're getting low on time, but I also just want to say, as the kind of final, period on my statement, Edelgard has a secondary form that she can take if she is to be backed into a corner. I was going to get to it. Mike, if you could pull up Hegemon Edelgard, she has a form that she can take called Hegemon Husk.
Whoa.
She looks like this.
She big.
And she
big
basically willingly turns herself into this monster creature. And it makes her incredibly powerful in exchange. It increases kind of the power output that she gets from her crest. It gives her additional like magical ability she's able to perform. And in the route where you can get her to take this form, you have to beat her not once, not twice, but 4 times, fully defeat her before she actually will die. Her like endurance and durability in this form is just off the charts.
Dude Blade X didn't miss a beat in which she's still hot like that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
So
that's
she's got an
interesting.
ultimate form.
What's
All right.
is
Does
there any
Kylo Ren
numbers
have
on, like-
anything like that?
Is there any numbers
Yeah,
on like the amount?
I have no response to that.
Yeah, is there-
Kylo Ren turn into a little beastie.
yeah.
Hey! He can pull Rey out from the diet. No, I'm not saying.
Oh no. All right, real quick, I do before we wrap this up. Let's actually go ahead and get the poll up and
Yeah, I'm
get the
getting
vote
it up.
started. And I want to do a quick shout out to our last sponsor, which is more so just a shout out to us, to Rooster Teeth Store. There's a bunch of new stuff at the Rooster Teeth Store for a bunch of holiday bundles you can check out. There's a few different codes that can help you save big. Like you can add some red, white, black, and yellow style to your wardrobe with the Ruby Fall collection. Until December 14th, pick your choice of outerwear with a top, and you'll get a jogger or leggings for free using the code Ruby Fall at checkout. And all of these, I believe, are until December 14th. So you want to get these quick. Like the Cozy Bundle, which is or the Cozy Winter Collection, which is a Ruby bundle of any choice of pajamas with Grim slippers added in for free. That uses the code Cozy Bundle. And then there's a bunch of other bundles. We'll have the links, I believe, listed below, or not the links, the codes listed below. But definitely check out those holiday bundles at the Rooster Teeth store. That's Rooster Teeth, or that's store.roosterteeth.com. And also, I do want to say a little bit about the poll that is coming up. Been meaning to find a place to squeeze this in. We're gonna wait till the last minute. But basically, just so everybody is aware, we do have 2 polls coming up that you guys are going to be able to vote on, members, in the Discord. So if you are not in the Death Battle Discord, you can do so by connecting your Discord to your YouTube account. I believe you start in Discord and like have the whole connection or activation or whatever it's called in the back end, and that can connect to your YouTube account and make sure you're logged into your YouTube account. That is a member of the Death Battle channel. So we will have that going on in the Discord server, in the Death Battle Discord server. The plan currently is to get that poll or both polls up this Friday. We want to make sure we have, enough matchups in there for you guys to vote on, and we want to make sure that we can actually do whichever matchup you guys choose. So, it's possible for plans to change, but the plan right now is this Friday the polls will be going up. So check out, be sure to keep an eye on our social media for more details on that as we move closer to Friday. And then we will also have the sneak peek for our season finale, Gogeta versus Vegito, next week, because then it airs the week after that. It's a slightly different release schedule for our finale this year. But yes, I'm very excited for these polls. You guys have had some incredible ideas. And again, there will be 2 polls. One will be for a 2D fight, episode, and the other will be for a 3D fight episode. So we are splitting, basically part of our deciding process when we've been going through all your suggestions has been, would this work best as a 3D fight or a 2D fight, and can we do it? So hope you guys like what matchups have been chosen for the poll, and excited to see which one you guys vote on. And again, if your idea has not been does not get on the poll, don't worry, we're still looking at all of them that you've posted in the ballots. You will likely see a lot of them in Death Battle Cast moving forward, and frankly, there's a very good chance that you'll see yours in a Death Battle in the future anyway, because as we were going through this, there were several episode matchups that we saw that we were like, I don't know if we can necessarily do that next year, but maybe we just put that in our season 11 lineup like right now. So you might see some of those in season 11 as well. It'll be fun.
And again, on the thing, like, we can't stress enough, like, we did our absolute best. We had thousands of suggestions to go through.
We got an
So-
incredible
Oh, that's
response.
And an incredible response. So thank you for your enthusiasm, but we did have to whittle it down to a handful for each one, right? And we've even expanded. So again, if yours isn't on there, please don't be mad. We still care, and it still might happen at some point. It's just a tremendous undertaking.
We were done like we're putting together like our initial list, which was already huge, of like ideas, and I was like, okay, so we're gonna pick out some of these for the polls, but like the rest of them, like I can kind of see our season 11 already. Like there it is. So we'll see what happens, but you know.
There were a lot of really
We'll see.
great matchups in there. And we are going through, some of us, primarily right now, it's me, Sam, and Liam. We are going through and recording us talking about every single matchup that was submitted to the ballot. And we are going to start having those videos go up as membership content. So if you're not on the poll, sorry. I'm sure your idea was still really great. And tune into our membership content and you can hear us talk about it at some point. It's going to be a long video series, though. There are so many matchups. You guys are
there's a lot.
incredible.
And
There's literally no better time than to join the Discord server, to become a champion, become a member. Like, I don't know. Can y'all think of a better time? This is it.
Oh, this is
Now.
it. Let's go.
Mhm.
all right, let's get to the community page answers first. So you guys have left some answers on the YouTube community page. We'll bring up the first one here.
This one comes from the Mighty Truffles, or Tuffles. I don't know much about Fire Emblem, but Kylo is one of the most powerful Force users we've ever seen on screen. He stopped a laser with his mind in his first scene. Luke, Chosen One, Skywalker was afraid of him, and he outwitted the telepathic Snoke and managed to get the kill when his mind was being read. Underestimate him at your peril.
I did
Indeed.
want to bring that up when we were talking about tactics. He did manage to outsmart Snoke, who is like Palpatine's weird secret agent. I don't know. Snoke's whole story is weird. All
I
right,
just kill. Anyway, I can't.
well, let's go ahead and bring up
Save it for the post show.
the answer for Edelgard.
All right. Agent Glowstick says Edelgard can use the flickering flower combat art or inflict the rattled ailment to make Kylo unable to move, and she can potentially resist the effects of the Force with magic and status ailment resistance. She's also capable of slaying demonic beasts and dodging lightning. Ooh, there we go. Which should give her the strength and speed advantages too.
Wait, she can paralyze him? Rattled ailment?
Yeah, rattled
always
and
thought-
flickering flower. They're both abilities that she has that can freeze someone in place.
I always thought rattled was like in Pokemon when you hit a Pokemon and they're like, oh, they were, I don't know, what is it?
You mean
That
like
one, you know,
status
when you hit a
effects?
Pokemon and they just go,
No,
Yeah,
there's
God,
so
there's a
many to
name.
choose from. What are you talking about?
Flinch,
Paralyzed?
flinch.
Flinch.
When they
Flinch.
flinch, yeah, when
You're
they
like-
flinch, you know?
I'm sorry, I just like, I want,
You know when you're fighting Pokemon and they get real shooketh? Like that.
Shooketh.
the next Pokemon or Fire Emblem needs a status that is just, ugh. I love it. But yeah, I did think that at first too. All right. So let's go ahead and get to these votes. So the first vote will be from the community page poll that we had up before we started the show. Let's go ahead and bring that up and see what our first vote is. Wow, okay.
God dang.
Edelgard with
Edelgard by
57%,
57%. Wow.
gets the first vote.
Y'all
All right,
breaking
we
my
got one
heart.
for Edelgard. Chad,
Breaking my heart.
let's start
I-
with you.
I just want to say that I think both of y'all did such an amazing job. Like, you both came so prepared, and I felt like you had pretty much had an answer for almost everything that was being thrown back and forth throughout the whole time, until Aaron dropped the super form, and then that is what turned it for me. So Edelgard will be receiving my vote. But great job. I'm sorry, Emma, you did a really good job.
Wow.
Oh. Okay, I'm not entirely convinced that she'll be able to get anything off in time though with Kylo Ren's ability with the Force. And even though the heroic weapon might be able to put up a couple hits from a lightsaber, we haven't established any sort of reason why the lightsaber wouldn't be able to overpower and slice through it. I got to vote for Kylo Ren.
Okay.
I'm voting for Kylo Ren. So we got two for Edelgard, one for Kylo.
The chat was chanting for a sweep. I don't know. We'll see what the vote is, but Ben, you might be the only outlier. We'll check.
Well, we'll see. Okay, let's go ahead and bring up the chat. vote. See what you guys have voted.
Oh,
Edelgard, wow,
man.
Okay, Edelgard has 68%, which means it's even higher than the community page poll. Aaron
like
won
Han
over some
Solo.
votes. All right.
Like Han Solo right now. Stabbed in the heart. By my own kids, my own community.
I'll stab you in the heart anytime, Embu.
Give me a minute. I need time. I need time. Aw? Question mark?
All right, so Edelgard wins. I am very curious what you guys all think about this matchup because, again, we have seen this requested quite a few times. Fire Emblem is a franchise that I have wanted. I've talked about this before. I wanted to bring into Death Battle multiple times, and we just haven't because there's a lot of reasons, but like making sure that we bring in a good matchup is one of them, and something that I definitely want to change. So hey, should this be our first Fire Emblem Death Battle? Let us know. And also Kylo Ren would be cool to explore in a Death Battle too. I think that'd be great.
For sure.
Yes, and
That was
like
like
Chad
a really
said,
good episode, guys. Y'all did amazing. Seriously.
yeah, Aaron and Embu,
Thank
amazing job. Really good job. Especially like Kylo Ren has a lot going on. Edelgard has a lot going on, and I didn't know jack shit about her. So, like, that was, I feel like you did a really good job making sure that we understood what was happening. Yeah, that was awesome. Again, the poll for the champions poll for the 2D and 3D fights for next year that you guys will be deciding will be up this Friday. It's the current plan. Take a look on it. Keep an eye out for it this upcoming Friday. Otherwise, keep an eye on our social media. If any changes come up, we'll let you know there. And then once you start voting, we're going to have it up for a little while. And then the current plan is to reveal the winners on the 20th, I think. Yes. The 20th.
Yeah, the 20th.
It's like the
We'll-
same
we'll
day.
be
There's something else going on
revealing-
the 20th, It might be tied into that somewhere.
Mhm.
Just saying. Anyway.
Yeah,
All
we'll
right.
reveal
Also,
it
hey-
on Cast on the 20th as well as on our social media. So be sure to tune in to Cast on the 20th. There will be a lot of fun
Yes.
stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, we have a special guest next week. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
And Fenton Majora in the chat. Always shout out to Fenton, longtime supporter. It says, come to the Discord and see the Fire Emblem related Discord death battle we're doing. So bringing up a good point. If you want some more Fire Emblem right now, head over to that Discord. Way to shill, Fenton. Good job.
All right. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. As always, be kind to others, be kind to yourself, be awesome, and we will see you next week. Take care.
Bye.
I